welcome to Politricking with myself, TD. My dear, it's been a long time. We took a mini break. I think the last interview we did must have been in Nkandla on the dead of the night with former President Jacob Zuma. This is now season 5 of the Politics Podcast, episode 1. Again, of a podcast brought to you by Eyewitness News. My first guest. I'm really excited because I remember her when I was at Power FM, also Cabbage Days. I remember her from Late Night Raids. I wonder if she remembers in Jeppy's town with the police, and where we saw the SANDF coming out to support the police. I'm joined by former Police Commissioner Riah Phiyega. Good afternoon. Hello. Welcome to Politricking.
Good afternoon, CD, and thank you so much for the invitation, and also greetings to all that listen.
Your history, in fact, let me rephrase that. You made history. Back in 2012. First woman to become South Africa's National Police Commissioner. Let's go back in time. Do you remember what was happening in your head, your thought process, even in your heart, emotionally, when then President Jacob Zuma said, listen, I have a job offer for you? Because you weren't a career police person. You went in the service, you had a whole story of history of being excellent outside of the police. The banks, you had another different background. Do you go back? No, hold on. Do you remember, rather, what that was like when you were being given this task at the time?
Quite a daunting task. And I asked a lot of questions. And maybe just to give a backdrop of how I collide with it. You would recall that there was a Presidential Review Commission for SOEs.
Yes.
Which I chaired.
Yes.
And we were just finishing, we were about to print our report in terms of the recommendations we were making for the SOEs to look into in order that we can push and have better SOEs in this country that become a critical role player in stimulating the economy of this country. As I was finishing that, I was invited to a conversation by the president to say, I need your assistance, and I'm asking that you assist me, or we should assist the country in serving as a police commissioner. I said, Mr. President, wait a minute. Why do you think that a person like me can consider that type of thing? I'm not a police person. Why don't you look for somebody who's a police and who's got skills in that to do that? And he sat me down, gave me a very long lecture. And the lecture he was giving me, first and foremost, he told me that you do not know what I'm looking for. Then I asked, what are you looking for? And he told me clearly that in the police service, there is no shortage of policing skills from where he is sitting. But what he was seeing at that point in time is that there is a need for good management, good administration, good governance. And he was saying to me, I have looked at your CV. I have looked at your track record. And I do believe that you have those solid general management skills that could help the police service to do what it's supposed to be doing.
Do you feel, I'm talking about Marikana specifically, that there was an attempt to scapegoat Marikana and put it just on your shoulders? There was an attempt to look at you, and I think you're relatively new when Marikana happened, and leave it on your shoulders. Exactly. Did you feel a sense that there was an attempt to put everything on your shoulders?
See, I wasn't going to talk about that, but let me start off by saying so much has been said about this incident. And I will preface it by saying everyone has a right to their opinion. But the one thing I can tell you is that I own my truth about that matter. There is no police commissioner, I will say it over and over again, that you will find in the front line. If there is a heist in Maponya Mall, you will not find any police commissioner commanding an operation in Maponya Mall. No. If KZN is burning, you will not find any police commissioner giving command there. And it's not because of practice, it's because of the law. public order policing, the legislation is extremely clear. What is the role of a national commission? First, to set up a special unit called public order policing. What is the second role of a national commissioner? To ensure that out of the establishment of police, that police commissioner dedicates a number of police to be dedicated to public order policing. The third role of a national commissioner is to ensure that those people are trained. And I'm telling you what is sitting in the legislation. It is ensuring that those people are trained in order for them to wear their red badges and be called public order policing. The fourth one is to make sure that the police commissioner responds, because the provincial coordinators, commissioners, are not just dedicated people. They must come and show their statistics to say, in our province, we are experiencing this extent of public order policing needs, and therefore dedicate some people to us. That's the role of a national commissioner. The national commissioner will then dedicate to the various provinces. After the dedication is given, the Act is very clear. It will tell you that once they are dedicated, the person who is responsible for the public order policy is a provincial commission. Even the provincial commissioner, when there is an incident, they must set an operations team that will manage that. You can't fly an intervention plan from any head office. The person who is leading that operation will meet with whoever, everybody who is there, the job, and they will develop a plan and they will know what to do. The debate that has been given over the years, that there is a directive that comes from a national commissioner, if indeed that criminality has happened in terms of the Act, arrests that national commissioner.
You haven't answered my question though.
What is your?
Did you feel there was an attempt to use you as a scapegoat?
Absolutely.
What happened?
Yes. And the day I write my book, you'll find a lot of scapegoat in that book.
Where did you sense the scapegoating was coming from towards you? Who found it easy to take Riah Phiyega 64 days on the job and say it's her fault?
You see, Sidi, that's what I said to you, that you guys have written so much about this from your own perspective. And again, everybody has a right to have a perspective. And my truth is what I told you. And whether, who said what, you are mentioning that people were mentioning things and all that. I'm not a politician. Not interested in that. I'm just telling you about what the police needed to do. And if anyone was willing to listen to the police, to hear about what happened, listen to their version, listen to the other version, go and read that report. And check if anywhere in that report there's any police who tells you that Riah gave us a directive. You will find none of it.
What do you make of the view that Marikana was a crime without consequence? When people say, oh, here's a crime that happened, where we know people gunned down, and people died across the board, really, that so many years later, if you look at it, the attempts to deal with what happened do not match the level of the tragedy that the country experienced.
I'm sure you have very good people that can answer that. You can call the president, you can call the minister of police, you can call the commissioner.
You don't have an opinion as somebody who found herself deep in the heart of all of that?
The recommendations are clear in that city.
I'm not asking for recommendations.
No, I must start there. To say the type of issues you're talking about, the consequences, the first question I would ask anyone who's asking the type of questions that you're asking is to say, have you taken time to just say, police, sit down, to say, tell us what you have done? Have you asked the president to say, President, tell us about this type of issues?